Hello, internet. Uh, how you doing? I know it's been very corrupted lately and very, very miserable. You know, I know I've been miserable. I mean, I have to work, to live. Kind of sucks. But I wanted to get on here and kind of just talk about, I guess just something, just something controversial today. Something like transsexuals, because apparently it's still like a huge deal with them, like everybody has like an issue about these like transsexual people, and obviously, you know I don't have a problem with them. I mean, they don't mess up my life, so then I'm not gonna have an issue with that. If they don't mess up my life, then do you, dude, do you. But I really feel like the people that do have an issue with them, it stems from a little bit more than just them messing with children and pushing their agenda on them. I feel like it really dates back to a lot of logic, a lot of Aristotelian logic. There's this. I was doing a little bit of reading. I was doing a lot of reading on Aristotle's law of identity. And honestly, wow, I really can't think of it right now. I really just cannot think of what I want to say about these transsexuals, because anything that you say about them, it's like it's messed up. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this generation, they make it so easy to just be mad, and if you have so much like anger to like get out, then why don't you just, I don't know. I just feel like we don't all need to be friends. And I feel like it's okay for people to hurt your feelings sometimes. Like, what you're doing is not okay. Not in the slightest, especially with these, with all these agendas going out now. And they're trying to teach kids how to respect transsexuals. And that's understandable and all. But that's still like an adult conversation. That's still an adult topic to just be talking about. You can't just be coming up to kids talking about genitals like that. I mean, not unless it's literally, something definite to nature, which transsexuals, not to be rude, but they're not definite to nature. They're indefinite. There's no real definition to a transsexual, because it's more of a practice than it is a way you were born. It's more of a practice than a way of nature. And I really wanted to get on here and talk about this because it's still a huge topic. I don't think that they should get disrespected for what they do with their lives. Like, because again, it's not harming people, but if it really is sparking this big of an issue, I mean, I really don't want to put this out in the air. I really don't. But I mean, we've gone like hundreds of like thousands of years of not having to worry about whether or not, oh, I'm a guy, but I've always wanted to be a girl, or oh, I'm a girl, but I've always wanted to be a guy. Like, that's not, where is your logic coming from? Like, that doesn't really add up. You have to accept life and all of its absurdities. And what I'm really trying to get at is like, they sat there and they pretty much stripped women of, abortion rights, because, that's wrong. And because it's controversial, it's killing another, like, it's killing infants, well, or embryos technically, but I mean, that's still the potential of life right there that they're killing. And that's why everybody had an issue with it. But that's still their body, and under specific circumstances, I really think that it would be okay for them to have abortions. Like if they were 14 years old and they had a child, or they got, like, R aped emoji, you know, like if something like that ever happened, then obviously, yeah, an abortion would be pretty necessary. Or if what's another scenario where it's like not okay? I don't know. I guess any teen pregnancy, technically. Not that that's going to be easy at all to go through, but I mean, it's not going to be easy to go through birth either. So I mean, choose your poison. But I'm just surprised how no one's ever like came up there and like talked about even like not that I should put this out there, but I'm going to because it's what's on my mind right now. And who am I if I'm not going to speak my mind? I'm not anyone if I don't say what I think. You know. So honestly, I'm just surprised no one's ever said anything about like like banning the practice. I mean, that's all I'm really saying. I mean, I guess that is really, really offensive. Again, I don't have a problem with any of these people, but look, dude, it's it conveys a lot of confusion, you know? And it's just not something a lot of people are like ready to like just hop into right now. It's something we really do have to take our time and just work towards, but I don't know. I feel the way that they do it is just so messed up because they suppress people's freedom of speech. They'll sit there and, they have all this power in canceling you if you say the wrong things. If you say something that offends them, or even if you said something 10 years ago, you'll still get banned. Like, that is crazy. Because, I mean, back in like 2011, that kind of stuff, I mean, people weren't too fond of gay people. It's cool to accept them and all, but you keep that on that side of the field. That's all anybody who's just not with that is trying to say. That's not speaking for me personally. I have gay friends and they're awesome, very personable people. You can have any open conversation with gay people and transsexuals, and honestly, they should be respected because they live their lives in exposure. But when it comes to transsexuals, it's a little different because it's kind of delusional, to sit there and go by more than one genital. Because that's kind of what they're pointing at when they say, just call me they. And I mean, it's easy enough to call them that. I mean, honestly, there's no problem with that, but it's a linguistic fallacy, and a fallacy. I mean, we shouldn't be going by things that, contradict themselves. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are so against it, like on a fundamental, like on a deeper level, it's just not definite in nature for you to go by more than one gender. So I'm going to read this little bit of philosophy from Aristotle's Law of Identity. Again, there's no hate towards transsexuals, no hate towards gay people. Life is too miserable for me to be out here trying to slander or undermine others. It's way too miserable to be out here trying to make it worse for anyone else. So, right now, I'm literally only saying this as in, like, look, dude, this is just speaking observations here. Okay? That's just all it is. This is not concrete. This is not judgment. This does not mean that I'm picking sides. Okay? I want to be on everybody's side, but that's not what everybody else would want for me, unfortunately. But that's just where we're at in today's society. We're all fighting each other over nonsense. I mean, we live under the stigma of World War III, and all we can do over here in America is complain about our genitals and whether or not we accept them. That's kind of weird. It's really stupid, actually. I don't know why we're doing that, but let me finally read this philosophy. Aristotle's law of identity, or the axiom of identity, states that to exist an entity that exists, must have a particular identity. Particular identity. A thing cannot exist without existing as something, otherwise, it would be nothing and it would not exist. So, technically, transsexuals do exist because, they exist as something, you know? But it still kind of goes against like the law of non-contradiction because you're going by more than one genital. The physique of a man, but the genitals of a woman. It's different when you're born intersex. It's different when you're born hermaphrodite. But when you're born, or like when you make the conscious decision to go against, or not to go against, but to to contradict your own sex. I mean, people shouldn't just try to ignore that like it's just completely normal. I mean, white people, I mean, and it's in our nature. White people didn't accept black people when they first saw us. They were like, whoa, y'all are some darkies. You're not equal to us. We're pretty. And then they enslaved us and shit, you know? And that's how it's always been. That's how human nature has always been. It's like you do something new, you're going to get met with a lot of backlash, but it'll always be worth it in the end because, you know, you fought for this right, you know? It ain't nothing without struggle. So, but anyways, um, also, to have an identity means to have a single identity. See, now this is where they convey a lot of confusion. An object cannot have two identities at the same time or in the same respect. The concept of identity is important because it makes explicit that reality has a definite nature, which makes it knowable, and since it exists in a particular way, it has no contradictions. When two ideas each make the other impossible. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is why a lot of people are against transsexuals because I feel like a lot of people can resonate with a lot of Aristotle's logic, you know? Everybody is just so used to the frame of humanity, you know, the ideal frame of humanity, you know? Men and women we're two halves of the same whole, you know? So when you come out and you're like a transsexual, it's like that sort of disturbs the picture, you know, because you were literally becoming both sides. Now, every interaction I've had with the transsexual was awesome. All right, they are very personable, well, they can be pretty open, and you know they're pretty soft. You know, they're softies. You know, it's completely okay for you to do that, but I mean, just speaking from like a logical point of view, that's pretty contradicting. Like it's I mean that whole like statement right there, Aristotle's law of identity sort of just called him an open contradiction. But I mean, if you're human, you're human. Don't give a fuck what other people have to say or think. You know, no one has the right to judge, but we do have the right to observe. We do have the right to be creative with our own expressions about things that make us, you know, that alter our perspective of reality. You know, it still stimulates us in a different way that's not just gonna be normal. You know, I mean, honestly, I feel like we should keep fighting for transsexuals. You know, they're okay. They ain't done nothing bad. Well, except for their agenda and pushing that on children. But I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. They just need to they need to start pushing it more on like high schoolers. You know, like kids like who are in their like freshman year of high school. Those are the people you need to be pushing that on. Jesus, the quality on this camera is terrible. But oh well, oh well. I mean, it's something. I guess that's all I really wanted to get on here and say. You know, talk about transsexuals, talk about life. Yeah, life. Um, how stupid the whole argument is. You know, it really is pretty stupid. But yeah. Guess that was all I really wanted to talk about. Law of identity, why people are triggered, transsexuals, and why they deserve rights too. But I mean, I know this video made me sound like I was like a whole like transphobe, but honestly, I'm really not. I accept people no matter what. I really have to cover my ass nowadays because people will cancel you for being mean.